Hello learners, I welcome you all to the third module of the first unit. In this video, we will study about goals and objectives of developmental model for counseling and developmental perspective to counseling. Introduction to any type of counseling is primarily given at school. Almost every school or an academic institution has a school counselor to help and assist students with their education and career choices in Western countries. However, the concept of school counseling is relatively new in Indian context. Nevertheless, many of the Indian schools now have school counselors to assist the students. School counselor provides information on the academics and career trends to students as well as supports them socially and emotionally. The learning outcomes of this video would be: understand the concept of developmental model of counseling, identify the goals and objectives of developmental model of counseling, analyze the strategies to meet the needs of the goals and objectives of developmental model of counseling. Literatures in counseling and psychology reflect various models that study the process of human development. Human development is influenced by individual and environmental aspects. Behavioral research, maturational research, and structural research focused primarily on social learning response, stages and sequences of growth and differentiation, and person-environment interaction, respectively. In application to counseling and education, major developmental theories eventually come under two categories, that is lifespan and cognitive structural development. Transition from school to high school and college identified the need for a finest support to assist student development. Conflict results in lack of development and it makes individuals to flight, overlook and retreat. These depend on the quality and amount of support they get. Supportive environment enhances an individual's ability to steer through developmental challenges. It is proposed that school-college environments should facilitate support for students in order to developmentally promote them. Developmental model for counseling. Literature suggests that school counseling should be conceptualized in terms of a comprehensive developmental model. Comprehensive developmental model refers to the concept that school counseling should be an integral part of the school program, not as a separate utility, and should be planned and implemented in a lifespan perspective. Goals and objectives associated with developmental model of counseling. Myrick has identified 8 goals and objectives that are associated with comprehensive developmental model, which the school counselors should strive to know. The first one is understand the school environment, understand themselves and others, understand attitudes and behaviors, use decision-making and problem-solving skills, use interpersonal and communication skills, use success skills, have career awareness and use educational planning, have community pride and involvement. Now let us see the first point, understand the school environment. School environment can also be called as school climate, which refers to the impression the school gives, like the look and the feel of the school. School environment is directly associated with the success of students because how they feel about the school makes them that successful and the feel influences their success. School climate or environment is affected by the values, norms, rules, regulations, safety and security, and disciplinary policies they follow. Understanding school environment is important because it plays the attitude of students for learning. A positive and supportive environment at school can help students feel safe and delighted, encouraged and engaged, and in turn, they get better grades. Their preparation, performance, and achievement improve. Hence, it is important to understand the school climate or environment to plan for a developmental model of counseling. The second point is understand themselves and others. Understanding themselves is knowing about their own self. School counselors should understand their own emotions, desires, abilities, and attitudes. It is very important to understand themselves as they can know what their behavior is and what impact it may have on others. A quote, "Successfully leading others begins with self-awareness." Understanding others in this context is very important as a school counselor needs to understand students and significant others at school. To understand others, there is a need to get connected with people, their motivations, needs, desires and aspirations, values and beliefs. It is important that school counselor should relate to students and their requirements. The third point is understand attitudes and behaviors. Attitude can be understood as a mind's inclination to certain ideas, values, people systems, and institutions. Behavior transmits to the actual expression of feelings and action through orally and through body language. Attitudes have an influence on the individual's behavior, and also attitude affects the behavior strongly. By knowing an individual's attitude, the behavior can be predicted. One of the major goals is to facilitate students to express positive feelings and progressive behaviors for successful learning. It is very important for the school counselor to understand the attitudes and behaviors of students related to academic achievement. This understanding of attitudes and behavior of students will help school counselor to recognize the problems that are faced by school children with regard to learning and coping skills. It also helps school counselor to identify the personal qualities and interests of the school students with regard to the career and education. Understanding attitudes and behavior will help in assessing school students and children with regard to their capacity of decision making and setting goals. It also helps school counselor to recognize the personal boundaries and individual differences with regard to personal and social development. The fourth point is use decision making and problem solving skills. One of the important difference between decision making and problem solving is decision making is a process and problem solving is a method. Decision making is like a judgment where after thinking process, a course of action is taken. Problem solving also involves thinking process which is analytical, and when gathering facts, intuition, instinct or perception and insight is used. Decision making and problem solving are one of the core skills of life. Problem solving often involves decision making, and decision making is important for management and leadership, which is a significant aspect of school counseling. Because school counselor in the process of counseling has to make a lot of decisions every day with regard to school children and students with regard to their academic, career, personal and social development. School counselor's job demands different methods of problem solving of different type of problems of various children at school. Using decision-making skills and problem-solving skills will help school counselor to identify the issues and understand the varied interests of students. The last and the fifth point of this video is use interpersonal and communication skills. Interpersonal skills are those skills that we use when we communicate with other people individually or in a group. Interpersonal skills focus on communication such as listening skills, understanding, questioning, and body language. So, it can be understood that interpersonal skills are the ability to manage communication and communication skills. It involves the ability to comprehend and transfer an idea or an instruction to others. School counselors have a great job of managing students and transfer knowledge to them in a way they understand. School counselors also have a huge task of building rapport, sustained relationship with students, their parents, and significant others at school. Hence, it requires school counselor to use the interpersonal and communication skills through verbal communication, non-verbal communication, listening, and being assertive and effective. So, learners, let us see the other points in the next video of the module. Thank you.